Thanks very much, everyone who's joined. I just want to obviously give a bit of thanks for taking the time out of your day to jump on for 30 minutes to have a hopefully an insightful run through of a service that has been really kind of key to our Cisco practice for a very long time. Just to give a quick intro of myself, so Ali McKean, Chief Technologist for Innovation, very hyper-focused around various different Cisco innovations that we've brought to life. And yeah, excited to provide an overview and hopefully a really interactive demo of our network observability platform we've really been building over the last decade with our customers. So hugely feedback orientated and what we look to always build next. But before we kind of jump straight in, also a lot of the capability we've built, including network intelligence that we're going to run through, has been part of our strategic technology partner status with Cisco. So very different kind of relationship with Cisco than the traditional kind of reseller. And then also we've been weaving into the network intelligence platform areas around supporting our customers decarbonize their IT infrastructure. And that kind of very much fits into the Cisco environmental sustainability specialization that we've been building up over the last few years since that's come to life from Cisco. And the platform I'm going to run through and service has been fortunate enough to get a lot of recognition from Cisco as a bit of a kind of winner over the last couple of years in how we do things differently with Cisco technology. And hopefully you'll see that over the course of the next few minutes. So there will be a couple of polls during the sessions. Really excited and interested to get your feedback. Just a couple of questions on how you're using tooling today around observability and network management. But from an agenda perspective, we've got kind of 5 areas we're going to cover off. I'm going to give a very quick background of CAE Labs, where it was kind of born from, run through an overview of network intelligence and what we're trying to ultimately solve with this platform. Then jump into a platform demo, so give an example view of all of the different insights and data points that we're generating every day. And then ultimately, and most importantly, how to actually activate the service post this webinar. Be really excited to get you on board and start delivering value in the areas you're going to see over the course of the next few minutes. And then finally, we'll kind of wrap up with just what we're working on at the moment. So we've got very much a committed roadmap around network intelligence to bring more insights, more value for our customers. And then just jump into a little bit of Q&A. If there are any questions that come out during the session, please feel free to drop those into the chat window. So quickly starting on CAE Labs, network intelligence fits into our suite of API-integrated software solutions that the team and I have been building over the last 5 years, really very much as an abstract layer of integrated innovation over different Cisco technologies and different platforms. And it's been very much born from our own experience based on 3 decades now of deploying Cisco technology and where we see that we can offer additional value and additional capabilities that may not exist in the market today. And then each of these solutions, these package solutions, are focused keenly on aiming to save our customers time, save on cost, and improving efficiencies. Network intelligence is a key one there, where we're trying to save time, save cost, and increase overall efficiencies of our customers' network operation teams and other areas of the business, and really ultimately to extract more value and return on investment from your Cisco investment. So network intelligence, where was it born? So this service was born in 2012. It feels like a long time ago. And it really was around the fact that we were trying to solve a problem for ourselves and for our customers. So traditionally, myself and a lot of the other consultants and engineers in the professional services team will go out with a laptop, do an audit, bring back that data, write a report, send it to the customer. And really, I felt that was kind of stagnant as soon as we hit send on the email. And we believe that there must be a better way to deliver ongoing insights for customers. So the service originally was born as very much spreadsheet and PowerPoint based for a number of years, and then really we decided to break ground and develop a platform approach so that our customers and our own people could self-serve, looking at the data, extracting the value that was needed at that given point in time. And really, we've just continued to iterate additional use cases and additional features on top of that. So very much a mature, nearly a decade and a half now service that we've been developing here at CAE. Now we have got various different customers, scaling from just 10 devices that they're tracking and measuring from an operational perspective, through to larger enterprise customers that have well over 10,000 assets or Cisco devices that we're monitoring and tracking and supporting them with. A very keen focus of myself and a mandate really around product development is to keep it simple. I think there is always complexities with vendors' solutions. When we developed our own capabilities, we wanted to make it as simple to adopt and as simple to use as possible. So it's very, very focused, very refined, as you'll see shortly in the demo. And yeah, we're really kind of blessed and fortunate to have hundreds of customers now logging into the network intelligence service on a given month. These customers are absolutely vital, the lifeblood of our innovation practice and feeding into what we develop next. So to run through key kind of areas where we've been developing insights for is one around install-based management, having asset tracking and having a single source of truth of what that Cisco estate looks like or that Meraki estate looks like. So inventory management's been kind of keen. Then other areas around contract coverage, or actually more importantly, what's not covered. So both major components and minor components like cards, power supplies, make sure that they've got contract coverage. And we've helped and support a lot of customers over the years, making sure that everything has an SLA that needs to have an SLA. So using the platform from an observability perspective on contract coverage. Also in the Meraki space, license and device usage. So again, looking at ways to save customers valuable money, valuable OpEx, and utilizing the insights around licensing and device usage has really helped over the last few years to save customers some significant CapEx and OpEx. But then around the alert reporting, is we've also pulling in configuration. So if SSH is enabled on the Cisco Smart Collector that I'll talk about in a moment, that will also back up that configuration. It will redact some of the, let's say, sensitive information, but it will keep that. So you've got an off-prem backup of that config, and I'll mention a little bit later about some of the roadmap around the configuration collection that we're excited to bring to life over the next number of months. In the area of alert reporting, we've got a number of focuses. So one is around lifecycle management. This is both in hardware alerts, and keeping track is always a bit of a task. Certainly, pre-2012, looking at Cisco.com was always a challenge to keep up to date with when Cisco announced end of life, as well as the key milestones. Similarly, around software alerts, keeping a touch point on when software has an end of life announcement, and naturally doing software patching to keep those maintained is a very key part of the platform, as well as all important security alerts. So we'll show you a little bit more detail shortly about what we're reporting on around security. And then finally, probably the unsung hero of alerting is field notices. And this has certainly supported our customers in keeping networks online, keeping uptime as high as possible. Where we've seen field notices, we proactively inform those customers if they have serial numbers or devices from Cisco that might be impacted. And there's been several instances of that since 2012. So I won't run through all of these, but we've had a huge amount of feedback which helps build the product, build the platform. And really, I would say probably the main three that I'll call out that customers have used it for is one, as I touched on a moment ago, is identifying hardware that might not be covered under an SLA, which introduces challenges should there be a need for replacements. One of the key areas really is around improving risk and vulnerability management, using, for example, like the security alerts, insights, as well as field notices and other areas. And one of the other primary uses would be about budget planning. So CAE use this data that's generated every day and feed that into things such as 5-year forward view reports, which our pre-sales team and our solution architects utilize to build out that kind of 3 to 5 year landscape around what potentially should be budgeted over the coming years, and really kind of help and support our customers. So to give a very quick example, so this was from about 18 months ago. We onboarded a customer into Network Intelligence and immediately saw insight and value that could be delivered to that customer. And this was around identifying some legacy Cisco firewalls. So these were quite significant kind of data center firewalls, but they weren't aware prior to onboarding to Network Intelligence that they had an end of life, and actually they not just had an end of life, they were going to be going end of life last day of support milestone. So what they were able to do is log into the Network Intelligence dashboard, see the hardware lifecycle widget, identify obviously some of the devices that were within 18 months of going obsolete. They were then able to click on the bookmark, identify that there were a couple of 5500 series ASA firewalls, and then they needed that lower level detail, where were those particular firewalls, so they could then use the on-platform native reporting to download and identify where those particular firewalls were, so that it could be refreshed and a project could be mobilized very quickly to align one of our PS consultants to go in and refresh those two firewalls for that customer. So just a very quick example. Now, going to jump straight into the platform to give a bit of a demo of the different insights that we're really generating, and just to give some clarity. So these dashboards are generated every 24 hours. So we effectively query all of the various APIs that we've productized over the years to pull in an up-to-date report for our customers. But focusing first in on lifecycle. So as I touched on, we're providing insights around last date of support as well as end of software maintenance. And the reason being is that we have different types of customers and personas that are looking to phase out obsolete or legacy hardware by a particular milestone. Some it's around just before it goes obsolete, whereas some are keen to explore replacing those before Cisco stop engineering software for those hardware platforms. Equally around software lifecycle, so utilizing this for patch management, identifying which devices are running obsolete software, but also using it as a tool to feed into wider stakeholders, wider team members about the impact that's being had from doing software patching, let's say at a weekend or on an evening, and seeing that kind of gap reduce as more patching is done over the course of several months. Same approach to Meraki. Meraki's had a number of end-of-life announcements this year, so keeping a steer and a grip on what's actually had an end-of-life announcement, what do we need to track to potentially build out a strategy or a business case and mobilize a project over the coming years has been really kind of key use case for network intelligence. So very much showing that approach to both in-service Meraki hardware as well as what we deem as kind of spares. So effectively it's not currently configured and in use, but there might be that opportunity to save on some cost by actually bringing into service some hardware that hasn't actually had an end of life announcement. If we click on that bookmark, we can actually see what's not had a end of life announcement from Cisco. So there's the opportunity potentially to recirculate and reuse, recycle some of those valid devices into the network. So I'll just give a quick overview of the lifecycle view and constrained view. Security, so it's very much around PSA, security vulnerabilities from Cisco, so tracking and monitoring the vulnerabilities that would be on Catalyst switches, on Nexus, data center switches, as well as anything really with a Cisco badge. Again, giving a high-level view on our dashboard, keeping it simple, keeping it colorful and concise, but providing the low-level detail when it's needed. Equally around field notices, again, tracking what platforms those field notices against, and field notices can really be for anything. I mean, the most recent one was around Catalyst 9300 series switches, where there was a batch of DRAM that needed to be replaced, and that actually meant replacing the whole chassis, the whole Catalyst 9300. We used this data to support about 16 customers and proactively notified them that we want to look at getting a replacement out to them so that they don't suffer a network downtime or impact during operational hours. They can take a more constructive approach, let's say, to doing that swap out. And then also around cyber security compliance. So a lot of customer feedback a few years ago saying that it's great that we're providing a full approach to security alerts, but For themes like Cyber Essentials, Cyber Essentials Plus, is there a way that we can actually provide this data in a slightly different approach? So really looking at kind of, I guess, pigeonholing them into the two areas that they cared about, which was what platforms have got critical vulnerabilities, which ones have got high vulnerabilities, so that energies, time, and team members can be focusing on those ones that potentially mean that there's non-compliance with things such as Cyber Essentials. So again, feedback from our customers is really like the lifeblood of this platform and our other solutions. We've touched on it, but contract coverage is always one that that helps to support both our teams as well as our customers, and really identifying where there might be large critical infrastructure that hasn't, for whatever reason, got a support contract backed off officially to Cisco. So that means that, you know, there's no official software entitlement, there's no access to Cisco TAC, or just as importantly, access to that 4-hour SLA or next business day SLA that is assumed. But equally, underneath each of those large sachets, let's say a Nexus switch or a Catalyst switch, there are serviceable components like line cards, SFP modules, as well as power supplies. All of those need to be serialized, and this helps to really identify where there might be major or minor components that we can make sure that those are serialized with Cisco. And then around the licensing side, so specifically focusing on Meraki, but we are also building in other licensing over the course of the next 3 months. So this has been really useful to track things such as enterprise agreements. More and more customers are qualifying for enterprise agreements to secure better discounts and better kind of consistency over a number of years. This helps to keep that as lean as possible and as optimized as possible, as well as where there might be dormancy. So dormancy is effectively devices that have been off for 7 or more days and are consuming licensing, but actually delivering no value to the business. So again, getting a steer and an insight into, you know, what is actually that costing from just having dormant devices online and deleting these devices, so that again, optimized for enterprise agreements, renewals around co-term and per device licensing. From a sustainability perspective, over the last 18 months, we've been doing a huge amount of work building out capabilities to support our customers with their goals around sustainability, but also equally around how do we help and support reporting around saving money. And to give an example of that to date, so we've got hundreds of customers now using our energy management solution for Cisco networking. There's a great example here where, you know, customers are removing over 4,000 kilowatts per 30 days, or 45% of the month or the week their network services are powering off, and really showing that in the data so that they can use this to feed into other teams within the organization, such as, you know, head of sustainability or the team that looks after the ESG strategy. So again, reporting on those various areas, as well as the things such as port utilization, and is there the opportunity to optimize the network further to remove more energy waste and more carbon emissions. So that gives a view of the different areas. We've also started to build out tools to give insights into areas where there might not be natively from Cisco. And one of those that we released in the last couple of months is around API utilization on the Meraki platform. Now, all of these insights that I've run through are exportable. So if you click on export and download the XSX spreadsheet, it will provide all of the data and the detail from each of these individual widgets. And if I go to an example here, we can go to contract coverage. And as I touched on earlier, if we go and filter the uncovered, we can very quickly see where there might be potentially devices that need to have a SLA and a contract. And in this case, we can see there's a couple of Cisco Catalyst 9500, probably core switches in this example environment that should actually have a contract coverage. Now, if we shoot over to another area that I touched on around cybersecurity, again, we've got the opportunity to filter based on the highest impacting severity from those security vulnerabilities. So, for example, using the CVSS base score of 10, and that will again constrain down a view to be able to focus time and resource and those change requests that need to go in, feeding data into those CRs from this particular report. So huge amount of value in this very refined data set that we've been building over the years, and cut out a lot of the noise that we've seen come from different Cisco services. In addition to that, there is a PDF, so you can download a kind of pre-canned report, which again can be useful to feed into other parts of the organization. We click on there. It's going to give a breakdown and high-level view of all of the areas that we have just run through, and give more insight around the network infrastructure. So again, all of that is auto-generated every day. So we go back to the platform. There we go. We've then got the option to also download data around energy consumption. So every month there is a report that's sent out. This is nested for 13 months, and we can effectively go back to February as an example and see what did the network look like from all of the areas that we've talked about from an insights perspective. So we can do a delta or a comparison, make sure and check really, for example, that there are significant areas of improvement, or actually, if there are other types of trends that are showing through the data that we're generating on a regular basis. So jumping back to a couple of slides around activation. So obviously this is a kind of a key one. And there'll be a poll in a minute just to get your thoughts and your important feedback on how you effectively track and measure alerts today, and if you're using any platforms. But really a key kind of component to network intelligence is the Cisco Smart Collector. Now this is a Linux operating system. It's very lightweight. That would sit on-prem, and this is purely for, let's say, non-Cisco Meraki technology. This uploads on a weekly basis and uses SNMP as a kind of prerequisite protocol. And absolutely any sort of Cisco badged kit can be tracked and measured. For the Meraki side, it's very straightforward. It's 30 seconds to activate and only needs read-only API access to your Meraki environment. And we also support multiple Meraki dashboards, so have customers that have 2 or more Meraki dashboards but just want a single view of the world when it comes to their assets and their licensing and hardware end-of-life announcements. There'll be a quick poll that shows at the moment. I'd be really keen to get your kind of thoughts around how you're currently tracking any Cisco alerts today, if you've got any kind of tooling that you utilize. And in regards to activating this service, this is a very mature operation that we've been running since 2012. So it's really made as simple as possible for our customers. As say for Meraki, very straightforward and simple, 30 seconds of your time. For a Cisco Smart Collector deployment, first of all, we would send over the service description. So this is a document which outlines every element of the offering. We then, in that document, there's a link to load up a Cisco Smart Collector appliance, and this will be effectively the one that is SNMP polling on a weekly basis, Sunday at 3 a.m., various different devices that you have on the network. And then we would book in a 45-minute WebEx with yourself or one of the team within the organization to set up that software. So very, very straightforward process. CAE have been fortunate enough to deploy hundreds of Cisco Smart Collectors over the years. So very, very much know how to keep it as quick as possible for your team. And then, following day, we'll generate that dashboard. So let's say, for example, we load up the Cisco Smart Collector or provide the API access to the Meraki platform today. Tomorrow, there will be a dashboard where you can start utilizing the various different insights and the data that I've run through. And as you can see the example on screen, a customer that's used this to track and measure their security vulnerabilities and then used the platform to see the impact of some of that software patching and dramatically removed a huge wave of vulnerabilities from their environment. But as a next step, really speak to your CAE account manager to kick off that service, and we'd be really happy and excited to get you on board. So to give an example of the kind of suite approach that we've been working on for a number of years now, because they're not isolated products, very much part of a suite approach, is an exciting journey that I've been on with one customer of ours over the last 7 years, I would say, since 2017, where we utilized the data from Network Intelligence to build out that 5-year forward view with our solution architects. And what we can see here, in 2022 in October, there was a huge amount of end-of-life hardware, or hardware that was going to be going end of life quite soon. What we've then been able to utilize is our other solutions to be able to help and support that customer rapidly at scale and pace, refresh thousands of switches, thousands of access points, where they are today in the past month in a very kind of clean bill of health. But what we can see is that from a trend of 2022 in October all the way down to October 2024, using network intelligence to support feeding into other businesses about why we spent money on big capital network infrastructure refreshes, and it really kind of builds in using network intelligence to track and measure, using solutions such as nucleus automation to replace Meraki or replace traditional Cisco Catalyst and other networking technologies. So it builds this kind of holistic suite approach. So it's been really exciting to be on that journey with that customer and many customers that are using the platform in a similar way. So I will just quickly touch on, so I see no questions are coming in yet, but I'll quickly touch on the areas that we are focused on from a roadmap perspective in product development areas. So really, I touched on earlier about exposing the configurations for various use cases, and things such as being able to compare, even the basics like the running configuration from the startup configuration, seeing if someone's forgotten to hit write memory, or actually doing some deeper analysis of those running configurations of switches, routers, firewalls, and so on to support our customers in solving challenging areas. Also looking to adding in Cisco Smart Licensing, things around like renewal dates, utilization, as well as percentage of technology attributed. And then also excited to be looking at adding the Cisco Commerce APIs, so pulling in more data from various different Cisco areas to support our customers with that kind of single holistic view and picture of their Cisco environment. Another area that we are looking continually on is working with the Cisco Sustainability Office. So we've been running a pilot with them for a few weeks now around product carbon footprint data for their infrastructure and their products, bringing that into network intelligence, hopefully in the future. And let me just have a quick look at the questions. So could we see more on the 5-year plan? Yeah, absolutely. So as a follow-up action to this session, because I can't see your name, so if you make yourself known to Lauren, what we can do is show an example of that 5-year forward view and how we're using the data from network intelligence to build into a more strategic kind of roadmap and help with obviously mobilizing potentially those business cases that our customers are having to write internally, and using a lot of the value that you've seen during this session. So I think I'm bringing us up to the hour, but I just want to give thanks for joining the webinar. Hopefully it was useful, and the key objective really was to kind of walk away with knowing a little bit more about how CA are doing things differently with Cisco technology, but providing observability as an ongoing capability through network intelligence, and providing this service as we have since 2012 at no cost, as it really is a kind of core component and really a cornerstone of how CA are trying to improve and return more value to our customers as a Cisco partner.